Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet. Did we finish all this yesterday, Renal? Nimitta Karana and Jnana. The explanation for human suffering. I remember you read this part. This postman thing, recognizing
Yes,
the author
yes.
of the loss is done.
Correct, correct.
Nature of the author is also done.
Correct.
And then the explanation for human suffering.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where we stopped. Correct.
Yeah. So the question is, Ishvara has one, I'll just read one para before. Ishvara has now one more definition, one who has all knowledge, Sarvajna. And when we say Sarva Shaktiman, we mean that he is all powerful and has all skills, being the creator of everything. Another defining word we have seen is Karma Phala Dhata, the giver of the fruits of action. These definitions eliminate the problems that arise when it is said that God created all beings. I may naturally ask why God created one person blind and another lame. If I am told that being God, he is justified to do whatever he likes and that I should not question him, I will definitely ask why God's creation is even talked about, since it is obviously nothing to boast about, especially when I am also told that he is all compassion. I am asked to worship and love him, but when I look at this creation with so much human suffering, God's compassion falls apart for me. Then I am told that he is justified in whatever he does, and I am supposed to love him. How can I? So, this is the question. So, the explanation is the answer to all of this is that not only is he the creator, he is also the creation. The individual jiva is non separate from and therefore not different from Parameshwara. The individual self, Atma, is Brahman, and therefore all that is there is the Atma that is Brahman. The Atma, the Jiva, is not created. When you say a person is created, it is only with reference to a given physical body at a given time. The Jiva is due to ignorance. This is why Gurudev says, there is no misery in the world. There is no misery. You can either have one of the two, either the Guru or misery. If you're caught on to misery, if misery is caught on to you, it means that you've not got the Guru. But if you have the Guru, there is absolutely no misery. Because the Atma, the Jiva, is not created, and therefore this human suffering, so called human suffering that we're going through, is actually an illusion. So when you say a person is created, it is only with reference to a given physical body at a given time. The Jiva is due to ignorance alone, and ignorance being beginningless, the Jiva is beginningless, Anadi. The subtle and gross bodies, Sukshma and Stula Shariras, are born in the sense that the subtle body, Sukshma Sharira, always adapts itself to the gross body, Stula Sharira. We also find that the Sukshma Sharira is always in keeping with the Stula Sharira it adapts itself to. Thus, only a cat's Sukshma Sharira is present in a cat's body and not a human Sukshma Sharira. Otherwise, the cat will not mew at you. It will talk to you saying, "Come on, it's morning, get up." Another important concept, Vedantic concept here, is that the Sukshma Sharira always adapts itself to the Sthula Sharira. We find that in this world of living beings, in each unit of creation, there is a Sthula Sharira which is in keeping with one's karma phala. Ishvara, defined as the karma phala data, is not to blame. So, all those people in Ethiopia, all those people suffering, it is actually their own making. Ishvara is only the karma phala data. It's according to their actions, previous actions. They're going through what they're going through now. So the question, how come God created so much human suffering, huh, is not valid. It's not valid. Nor do you need to justify Ishvara's action either. To do so would only be justifying your own. You did it and you got it. You asked for it, you have had it, and you have it also.
Yeah,
You
can I stop you over here? What does that mean here? Uh, like, okay, to do so, so only be justifying your own.
huh.
It is. Can you please explain this?
No, nor do you need to justify Ishvara's action either.
Hmm.
You don't need to say, "Oh, because you did so and so, Ishvara gave you this result." So basically, Ishvara is just the lawmaker. The law is set into motion. He's just created the whole world with that law, and based on those laws, physiological, psychological, physical, whatever laws, based on whatever our past karma is, whatever we're going through is based on that. So you cannot justify and say, "Oh, because," you cannot justify Ishvara's action. Whatever is happening is because of that karma, the law of karma, which is nothing but created by him. So ultimately, if you look at the laws, who has created all the laws? That is Ishvara. So he cannot be. So nor do you need to justify Ishvara's action. To do so would only be justifying your own. Basically, you've done it. If you've done a good deed, you get whatever good karma, and you'd be, if that is there in your prarabdha this life, you will experience it. Or it will go into your sanchita, and at some other future life, you will experience something good. So it is actually justifying your own. And same thing with things which are not going well with us, some misery, some pain, some challenges, right? So Ishvara, although he is the ultimate lawgiver and karma phaladata, Why is he karma phaladata? We saw that yesterday's thing, right? Because he is the one who is all powerful, all knowledgeable, he's all knowing, and he is the nimitta karana as well as the upadana karana. See, he is the overlord, in fact, the top man and the boss, not limited by time, space, or anything. And the examples given were that the avocado is the one with the large pit, apple is what it is. So we cannot now question why avocado should be like that, why apple should be like that. That is how it is. That is what Guru Swamiji mentioned. He says it's an pointless thing asking why creation is the way it is. 1 second. We should leave things simple. What is that? Where was that? See, other than physical laws that we know and do not know, there does seem to be another order of law. That order, that is the karma phala data, that the Ishvara's aspect there. We are always finding orders within orders that is done. And there was somewhere that, yeah, so these laws are not created by me, right? Nor my grandfather or great grandfather. They all existed also because of these laws. So therefore, you find these laws always operating, and no given person can be considered to be the author of them. To recognize the author, then, is to take one more step. No doubt, our actions govern that past karma is what we lay the blueprint for currently or in the next lives. No doubt about that. But who has created those laws that if you do this, this will happen? That ultimate cause, the lawgiver, the ultimate lawgiver is Ishvara. And how we do what we do ultimately determines what we get or what we're going through. Therefore, you must first recognize that the author of the laws produces the results of action. Now, all this again is for Buddhi Yoga, is for Karma Yoga. But when you talk of absolute jnana, all this does not make sense, right? Because there is no difference between Atma and Jiva. That distinction should be um, is important for us to get. Otherwise, there will be confusion between jnana and karma yoga. Jnana meaning the absolute knowledge that there is only one Brahman. If there is only one Brahman, who is the karta, who is the bhokta, where is karma, where is the karma phaladata? All that makes no sense, right? So, when you're talking of Advaita Jnana, all this does not make sense. So that is why Swamiji in the beginning itself has said, what we're talking of now is karma yoga, not jnana. And why is this required? Because there is some dirt that we have to wash out in order to gain that absolute jnana. And that postman example is very clear in that the postman is the one giving you the money every month, yes, but who is there is someone else above him who is actually sending the money. Similarly, the karma phala, the result, is produced by the law, and the law itself is produced by another intelligent being. That all intelligent being, Brahman, is called Ishvara, the Lord. See, and here he says, thus he is not only the maker of the results of action, but also the very law, the very result of action, in fact. Because our topic is Karma Yoga, we will not go beyond this point here, since to do so becomes Jnana. We say then that Ishvara is the maker of the laws, and also the laws are not separate from him. The results of action, coming as they do from the laws that are not separate from Ishvara, the Lord, and they come from Ishvara. It is this recognition of Ishvara that converts the simple samatva to karma yoga. Without Ishvara, what we've been discussing is nothing but a pragmatic approach. But here we are dealing with a purely religious approach, which is entirely different because it recognizes Ishvara, the Lord, as the giver of the results of action, and oneself as only the doer of action, karma karta, whereas he is karma phaladata. Therefore, to be a karma yogi, one has to accept Ishvara. So you did it and you got it. You asked for it, you have had it, and you have it also. You will continue to have it because you keep asking for it. Therefore, no one else is responsible for what comes to you. Every jiva is responsible for what that person is. This is the kind of responsibility that is assumed by the jiva here. You have a capacity of free will to perform action. You can do whatever you want to do, but the result is always something that is taken care of by the law, that is Ishvara. See, we have not decided that apple should be like this, avocado should be like that. Similarly, what the result of our action, whatever we do, we are totally responsible for that result, no doubt. But we have not authored what kind of result it is. That is created by the lawmaker, that is Ishvara, isn't it? So that is the recognition here, that there is a lawmaker. And because we do not have a say, we cannot author the results of our action. We do not have a choice over the results of action. I think the right term to be used is choice. We do not have a choice. How the result turns out to be, we do not have a choice. We are responsible for it in a way because of our past karma. But because there are other factors involved in the result, we do not have a choice over the result. We are not we are not helpless, but we are not all knowing. We are limited in our knowledge about the result of action. Therefore, you take the result as Ishvara's prasada. Then automatically there is so much of a relief. It's a very relieving, very freeing um, attitude to have when you take everything as prasada, isn't it? Like later, there is this example of getting something from Tirupati. Laddu you may not accept. But when you say someone tells you this laddu is from Tirupati, no matter what, you have it. That is the religious aspect being brought in. So why is all this understanding, Mrinal? Is that fine?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got the answer. Thank you.
I know that there will be some contradictions that
Yeah.
that may not be clarified immediately, but as
Mm.
we go along and as we deepen our, keep going further, slowly some of those will get. Just
Correct.
remember what China would say, that Subhashitani. Acharya padamadatte padam shishyasva medhaya padam sab brahmacharibhyo padam kalakramena. So kalakramena, as time passes, some of those will start getting clarified. One fourth from the teacher, one fourth from your own understanding, one fourth from the your classmates, and then one fourth in time. So, and what we're talking of here is beyond logic. So sometimes for the logical mind, it does not make sense. It I suppose is that wonder moment, like that aha moment, that would dawn in every sadhak's life. So our responsibility will be to just stay on, do shravana, do manana, and also do nididhyasana. Does anyone want to share anything before we go further? That is why the responsibility, we say, we are responsible for everything ultimately. In our happiness program, we are responsible for our actions as well as inactions. We are responsible for everything. We are responsible for our feelings, for our whatever you are going through, you are responsible. So, what is happening there? You are taking charge of your life. You're not becoming a puppet. You're not becoming um, a football of others. You're not putting intention in someone's actions. You're not seeing an intention. And that opposite values are complementary. It becomes so easy to get that equilibrium, that balanced state, no matter what is happening in life. So when you take that full responsibility, when can you take that responsibility? When you recognize that the and this aspect of karma yoga would help you in getting this, taking charge of this responsibility. What I am due, I will get. I am taking this as Ishvara's prasada. So you have a capacity of free will to perform. You can do whatever you want to do, but the result is always something that is taken care of by the law, that is Ishvara. Why at all is this understanding necessary? To answer this question, we have to go a little more into the human psyche, defined here in the Gita as a psyche that operates on the basis of its own likes and dislikes, raga and dvesha. The entire Gita psychology is dealt with in terms of raga and dvesha alone. No other norms are used. Raga and dvesha can be in an unspelt form or a spelt out form. No other norms are used. No, you may not know that you have a liking for something until you happen to see it closely. Otherwise, how is it that even though you meet so many people every day, one day you suddenly meet someone you like a lot? Of all the people you have met and known, why this particular one? In fact, it is a wonder to your family and friends that you chose this person as a life partner when someone else, whom they thought more suitable, was already after you. There are a lot of likes and dislikes embedded in us which are not shaped properly. We may call them unconscious, subconscious, or whatever, but still they are unshaped likes and dislikes, meaning that they are not very clear to you, but they are evoked when situations appear before you. All these are included in the term raga dveshas. Raga is that which is pleasing or desirable to you, and dvesha is that which is undesirable in your view. Both raga and dvesha are purely according to you alone. They are totally limited to the individual. Wherever psychology is involved, you must always know that it is according to you alone. When you say some man did something wrong to you, it is only according to you. In fact, if you ask the man, he will say that he gave you what you deserved. Thus, it is always a matter of perception, yours and the other person's. That is why the verse Uddhared Atmanatmanam seems very relevant here, no? You are your mind is your friend as well as your enemy. So you lift yourself up. Don't blame others. Don't you take responsibility. And unless we lift ourselves up, unless we know how to handle our mind, that is the key, handling our own mind. So it's all psychology and it is all about our ragas and dveshas. Some are known to us, some are unknown to us, but they are all embedded in our psyche. When situations come in front of us, then they kind of manifest, so to say. You recognize that you have those ragas and dveshas. So it is they're all limited to and they are specific for each person. Avoidance of the undesirable is also a fulfillment. What should you do when your whole life is dedicated to the altar of raga dveshas? Powerful question, right? So to fulfill dvesha, you must stall what you do not want to happen. And when you succeed, you're very happy that you avoided it. Some people have become great devotees simply by avoiding what could have been a very serious accident. They say that God saved them. See, how come they recognize God there? Correct? So, therefore, that unknown factor is recognized when you avoid something very serious. When you avoid something unpleasant, it is a great relief. People talk as though it is a great accomplishment, when really you did not accomplish anything. The incident that could have created a problem for you simply did not happen. Still, you are so relieved that you become a devotee. Why? Because something was avoided. Thus, avoidance is a fulfillment too. We see then that what I do not want and I have to get rid of. What I want to have, I should have. And what I already have that is desirable to me has got to be retained. This is raga dvesha. Therefore, all your activities are nothing but raga dveshas, and all your psychological problems are also nothing but raga dveshas. What else are they? If you had no raga dveshas, you would have no problems, just like in deep sleep. Until you sleep, you may have raga dveshas. The pillow may not be comfortable, the room may be too chilly, or you may have 100 other complaints. But once you have gone to sleep, there are no likes and dislikes. This raga dvesha argument is simple and complete. Certain things should be kept simple because the more you complicate them, the more problems there are. I think this is what I was looking for when he says some things should be kept simple. So this Ragadvesha, if you look at the train of thought, we started off with Karma Yoga being three definitions of Karma Yoga: Samatva, Kaushala, and dissociation from the association from pain. And that Samatva was was brought down to having a proper attitude towards the results of action. And then the train of thought was the results of the action. You don't have a choice over the results of action, because the ball is already being set into motion, and whatever is due to you will come to you, and that lawmaker is Ishvara. And then recognition of Ishvara as an important step for Karma Yoga. And then was the Ragadveshas, human suffering. They brought in the concept of human suffering, asking, if God created the world, why did he create so much of suffering? If you say he's all compassion, why is there so much suffering? And the answer to that was, he is the creation. And the Vedantic aspect, that
Ramanaji, you told some association, that the third one.
third one is the dissociation from the association with pain. That definition
Association
comes,
with pain.
huh,
Hmm.
you're dissociating, you're
Ah.
associating with pain all through. Here, Karma Yoga is dissociating from that association with pain. I think this definition
Not
comes in
only
the
pain, no, it
sixth
could
chapter.
be both, both Sukha and Dukkha.
Yeah, yeah, that is
Yeah,
true.
not only pain. That is what I
Correct.
was.
Yeah.
Ah, hmm. Dissociation with the association of pain. Okay, that's good. Okay. So immediately I somehow
Mm,
sorry.
yeah. Usually, it's the
Executive,
pairs. Yes.
executive, I'm some clarity I need here. It says God saved him from the accident, so he becomes a devotee. Is it saying that God saved him or his karma saved him? What does it mean? This actually.
Yeah. So, if you look at the karma angle, yes, he that is how it had to be. Maybe he had some punya karma before, and that is what that the incident that was to be a serious accident did not happen. What he deserved, he got, and he's
Mhm.
actually the maker of his actions as results, right?
Yeah,
But
correct, correct. Yeah.
because he avoided, he says, thank God. Don't we all say that? It is
Yes,
like, you say, oh, this could have happened, it didn't happen,
yes.
and we attribute that to a higher power,
Oh, okay. Then he
and
becomes
then
devotee.
that person becomes a devotee.
Mm. Okay.
The reason why this was brought in was to say that not avoiding what you don't want to have is also a fulfillment.
Yeah, very profound. No, this avoidance is also fulfillment.
Huh?
Avoidance also is a fulfillment.
Is
It's
it?
so,
It's a,
yeah.
it's not just what you want, what you like, you're getting is, of course, you have that sense of achievement, fulfillment. But dvesha, keeping away what you don't want, is also a fulfillment. See, nobody wants to die, no? There were instances when, but we've all heard about these things, when a person was supposed to get onto a particular flight and that flight actually crashed. So, what does this person think? He says, oh, I am so lucky. Thank God I did not get onto that flight. So, he avoided death, so to say, and he feels that relief. So, that is the turning point for this person. If he is still not a devotee, he would become a devotee. Isn't it true? Because see, according to him, from his limited knowledge, he could not have, he would have actually gone on to that flight. But there was some unknown factor, which we can call God here, karma phaladata, Ishvara, whatever name you give. There was that unknown grace that came and protected him. Or so he thinks. Again, when you look at the karmic angle, he played out the blueprint himself. But he becomes a devotee.
God is not partial or something like that. But
Exactly.
yeah.
So we cannot blame God saying, why you created so much suffering? Why so many people died in the crash, in so many fires that are happening? It is the law set into motion. When COVID happened, it was the law. It was because there was so much of abuse of whatever. And I still believe that COVID was a manufactured virus. So it was an abuse of the natural laws, of the intelligence that you're given. And therefore, there was this huge pandemic. And nature, actually, it was like a reset button for most things. Thanks to the reduction in travel, in human activity or human abuse of nature, nature was reset. There was less pollution. Animals and all of them, everything, nature started living again, so to say. And again, we're back to square one now.
Correct. That's back to square one, right? Oh.
And so the train of thought was next was, all this is because of ragadveshas. Why the concept of ragadveshas is brought in is because, what is that? Yeah, why is this understanding necessary? We have to go a little more into human psyche, defined here in the Gita as a psyche that operates on the basis of its own likes and dislikes. The entire Gita psychology is dealt with in terms of raga dvesha. So basically, human activity, human desires, human functioning of a human being is based on raga dveshas.
Like here, Arjuna doesn't want to fight, right? So,
Mm.
but to avoid. So,
Mm.
so that is and the other one, Duryodhana wants to fight because he
Mm.
doesn't give anything. So obviously, he said everyone and every we all have that underlying this likes and dislikes.
And they're specific for every person.
Mm.
It may be that sometimes there's a coincidence and some likes may be similar, but each one's likes and dislikes, set of likes and dislikes are unique. Here to this, Swamiji had mentioned, this argument of raga dveshas should be kept simple.
Mm.
That-
This is also based on our own karma. Then what?
Yeah, based on our vasanas, based on our karma. But again, take
Mm.
back, where is Jiva? Jiva is, does he have an origin? Like, does he is beginningless.
Mm-hmm.
So we cannot ask here,
Where they
it
start.
has to come, yeah, where did the first karma start? I remember I'd asked Nana when we were doing Gita with him, he said,
Mm.
where did the first prarabdha karma start? Where did it start?
Yeah, even asked so many times.
Isn't it? So,
Yeah. Mm.
so with this Vedantic understanding of Maya explaining the genesis of creation, you take back your understanding there, then you understand that all this is born of ignorance, and ignorance is beginningless. So
The
therefore, karma.
another thought also came because
each one of us, I mean, every being is pervaded by the Brahman. So when the being undergoes some suffering or joy, the that will be also goes to Brahman also, right? I mean that.
Correct.
Um, so even though we say we are the ones suffering, not, I mean, naturally, when I say I am suffering, that will be really going to the Atma or
Right.
Brahman.
See, when we very right when we say in that paragraph of why the human suffering, explanation for human suffering, eh,
Yeah.
God, Ishvara, is the creation. So
Hmm.
there is Satya in Mithya. I mean, there are five aspects to this, right? So one is Asti, Bhati, Preeti, Nama, Rupa.
Nama Rupa, right. Asti Bhati.
Asti, Bhati, Preeti are aspects of Brahman, which do not change. They are
Mm.
eternal. Asti, the existence, isness, does
Mm.
not change. It is the truth. It is eternal.
Mm.
Satya. Yeah, right. So Asti Bhati is that consciousness, that chit, knowledge principle. Bhati Preeti. Preeti is that Ananda, that aspect of. So Sat Chit Ananda. And then Nama Rupa. Nama Rupa is what keeps on changing.
Mm.
You cannot stop them changing. That is the nature of the world.
Mm.
So, in every aspect of creation, you have these five things, five principles. Problem is we are looking at only the Nama Rupa, changing Nama Rupa. We do not perceive the Asti Bhati Preeti, and then we suffer. We are we are affected. We go like a yo-yo up and down. With the change in Nama Rupa, we also change. And that change in each one of us is what change we like, what change we don't like is dependent on our individual sets of raga dveshas. Most of them are in a embedded form we don't realize. Some of them we know. Most of them we don't know. And our life, our psyche, our mind is filled with these likes and dislikes. So the aspect of karma yoga is here now. Number one is to free ourselves from this, um, from the clutches of raga dveshas. When we take every action is like done as a prayer, and the results are taken as prasada. Then you're loosening the grip of raga dveshas in your mind. No,
Right.
you're loosening the grip, and
Utilizing
as
that.
karma yogis, you're also pursuing knowledge. And you want to, the ultimate knowledge is to understand that you are nothing but Asti Bhati Preeti. You are Brahman. So when the hold of Nama Rupa starts getting less and less, what remains is Asti Bhati Preeti. It is not acquiring something. You don't need to leave the world to gain Ishvara or gain the knowledge of Brahman. You just have to remove that ignorance, that attachment, that association with that Nama Rupa. That is what Gurudev said in one beautiful clip. He says, enlightenment, someone asked, how can I get enlightenment? He said, I can give you an enlightenment in a moment. You can get enlightened. You just remove the faces from people's face. Have no face.
Right.
When you look at the world like that, then that is the state of enlightenment. It's only when you look at faces that raga dveshas crop up. Oh, I like this. I don't like this.
True.
So this raga dvesha argument is simple. Certain things should be kept simple because the more you complicate them, the more problems there are. This applies especially to psychological problems which are based on one's anxiety to fulfill likes and dislikes, and also on the judgments one makes with reference to their non fulfillment. The necessity for karma yoga is because people are in the hands of raga dveshas. Their behavior, their activities, their responses and prejudices, cultural, racial, and otherwise, are all controlled by their likes and dislikes. All prejudices and preferences come under raga dveshas, whether they are binding or non binding. It is said that even gods have preferences. When we worship Lord Ganesha, for example, we offer him a sweet modaka that we say he likes. This is based, of course, on our likes. Thus, we impute our own raga dvesha to Bhagavan also. We say Ganesha likes this, Shiva likes that, and so on, so that we can deal with the deity as a person. You cannot deal with someone without preferences. But the idea is that our preferences should be non binding. So it's okay to have preferences, but let them be non binding. I have to have my cup of coffee in the morning, but let it be non binding. If you don't get coffee, you get only Bonvita, or you just get a cup of hot water, that should be happy. You should be happy with that, right? So, I mean, no special reference to anyone here. I'm just saying because most of us, even I was like that for a long time. I had to have my cup of tea in the morning. My whole morning, the day depended on that single little cup of tea. So, but that was a binding desire for me. But the idea is that our preferences should be non binding. So, the reason for karma yoga is why? What is the reason? Because our life is governed by our raga dveshas. That's the bottom line. Bottom line. And that is why time and again Krishna kept asking Arjuna, be take to the path of karma yoga, not sannyasa. Sannyasa is not for you, because his mind, his psyche was full of likes and dislikes. So when your mind is full of such likes and dislikes, how can you take to path of sannyasa? It's like that Jayana talked about that story of that merchant who had a tea shop. He wanted to take sannyasa and he went to the Himalayas. And there he was having tea from that whatever stall that was there. And his mind, because his likes, dislikes were still there, strong. He says, oh, I make better tea than this. He did not like the tea that was given. Then he set up a tea shop there. So he set out to become a sannyasi. But what happened? Sannyasi is one who gives up all, just exclusively pursues knowledge to the exclusion of all else. So therefore, sannyasa, to take to sannyasa is not a joke. You have to prepare, have enough preparation. So for all the rest of us, what is the path? What is the lifestyle? It is karma yoga. And why karma yoga? To neutralize raga dveshas. Preferences should be non-binding. In everyone's life, there are preferences that are non-binding in nature and others that are binding. Preferences that are binding in nature are the ones we have to deal with. About those that are non-binding, we need not do anything. In fact, the Gita Shastra does not deal with them at all because they are not a problem. Whenever the Gita talks about raga dveshas, it does so in terms of one's binding, likes and dislikes only. Even the one teaching the Gita, Krishna, the Lord, had preferences. He loved butter, he loved dairy, right? For instance, he always chose the flute. He did not come with a guitar or a veena. We know that he knew what he was talking about as evidenced by his life. Whether we take him as a wise man or as Ishvara, the Lord, we cannot say that he had raga dveshas, even though he had his preferences. So, when we talk of raga dveshas, it is purely only binding raga dveshas, not non binding raga dveshas. Because someone might say, oh, Krishna had liking to Arjuna, right? Well, it was non binding. You can't say Krishna disliked Duryodhana. All that was non binding. So, there no question of imputing ragadveshas to Krishna or to even any of us, as long as they're non binding, they do not come under ragadveshas. All of this is to point out that there are non binding and binding ragadveshas, and we must deal with the binding ones. The binding ragadveshas are those whose fulfillment is a must for you, and in whose non fulfillment you feel like a loser, a struggler, a seeker, all empty inside. I'll read this again. The binding ragadveshas are those, so we must deal with the binding ones. The binding ragadveshas are those whose fulfillment is a must for you. That is why they're binding, right? So you want them to be fulfilled, and in whose non fulfillment you feel like a loser. If you've not got what you've desired, you feel like you've become a loser, a struggler, a seeker, all empty inside. You are a seeker because you have hope. You want to fulfill your likes and dislikes. These ragadveshas are binding in nature and they make you act. Action does not take place without reason. When you undertake a course of action, there is definitely a like or dislike involved. Raga dvesha is commonly called want or desire, kama. These likes or dislikes are behind every kind of action. So the three knots of that a jiva is knotted with in the world is first is avidya. He is born of avidya. Then kama and then karma. So this kama here is not just likes, it includes dvesha as well. Likes and dislikes. And this kama is what? This is binding kama. Binding likes and dislikes. Non-binding anyway don't bind you. It is the binding one that knots you up in the world. In their fulfillment, you feel, oh, I've succeeded. I am so great. I am so this. And in non fulfillment, you feel like you're a loser. Oh, I'm always like this. So that yo yo psychology goes on. We are talking here about the person who has just entered into a life of yoga, for which the cause is karma. Therefore, the yoga should definitely include one's own likes and dislikes. When you say I'm a karma yogi, you have to accept that you have likes and dislikes to fulfill. To do this, you have to undertake activities which produce results. And these results are not always what you want because you have control only over your actions but not over the results. The results come from Ishvara. First, you accept Ishvara and then you accept Ishvara as the karma phaladata, the giver of the fruits of action. When you do this, you have a purely religious attitude, the attitude of a devotee, a bhakta. We'll stop here. We've got 4 minutes. think we'll do some manana on this. Just read this one paragraph. The recognition of Ishvara as the karma phaladata is what makes you appreciate Ishvara in your daily life. Even when you fall down and incur an injury, Ishvara's grace is at work. That you fell down and hurt yourself does not mean that his grace is absent. Under the law of karma, you escaped greater injury. You did not break altogether. One can fall down and receive a small injury, not be injured at all, or end up in the hospital never to return. All these are possibilities. Therefore, as a devotee, we see Ishvara working constantly. Yeah, we'll stop here. Let's all just close our eyes and just reflect on all that we have heard, listened, and understood. And it'll be good for each one of us to share at least one point. That is our takeaway from this.
Every action of ours is driven by a raga dveshas,
Mm.
karma.
And karma yoga is because our life is governed by raga dveshas. And we have to take care of only the binding raga dveshas. We are 12 of us. We've got only 2 sentences till now. We need another 10.
Karma
To
yoga,
neutralize.
uh, one, two, it's three kinds, right? Like the samatva and the
Kushala,
mm,
Kaushala, yeah.
the dissociation from association from pain or
Pain.
with pain.
Yeah.
So the sameness of the mind in when you have the result of action,
Mm.
you take it with the no preference for that, as to take it as a prasada. The kaushala is the you do the action with discretion, like with the dharma. That's a norm actually, but with the whatever the action we are doing, we do it with the dharma. Um, that's why it's called you do it with the discretion. Then the third one, we didn't go much into it, but
That will go into in the 6th chapter.
yeah, there was a reference given to. They said the Karma Yoga more will be discussed in the third chapter, and then the one sloka in 18th chapter also
Yeah.
where they mentioned it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of examples which was very funny, like
Mm.
especially with the discretion, like this one man has a like for his neighbor's money, like
Right.
because neighbor is very rich guy and he had a lot of gold and whatnot, but at the same time he doesn't like the neighbor.
Mm.
So he has this more dog and Vesha in the same place, and then he's planning to steal his money.
Mm.
But then he says whatever he gets, he'll take it as prasada. Would that be karma yoga?
No. Adharmic. No, that is
No,
not
yeah,
right.
it's
Yeah.
no, right? But the way the even Swamiji put it for us to think, it was really funny the way he put it. But then again, how he brought that information where you have to follow your dharma and adharma. Um, but
We should
then
not misuse knowledge. We should not We should use knowledge in the way it has to be used.
Right. And there are some places that where you can lie, but not for yourself, but benefit of others. So you have to assess the situation, and you can. There are some exceptions that you that won't be considered adharmic action. If you're lying or doing something out of the norm.
Yeah.
And doing karma as a service to the God, whatever the we call divine,
We have to have Ishvara in our karma yoga.
Ishvara, Pranidhana. So whatever we do, as if we are doing it for him.
Right.
So that solves the karma, this one also. It is not binding. That will be a big, as a offering and surrendering it to God. So for whatever the result, don't care about the result. I think we should make some bullet points like this and keep it ready. Karma yoga. I think we read so many, I think we can do that.
The quintessence of karma yoga is to neutralize raga dvesha.
Yeah, ultimately.
The purpose of karma yoga is to have the antakarna shuddhi.
That is true. But how does that antakarna shuddhi come?
Yes.
When you neutralize your raga
dvesha. Yeah.
and raga dveshas, you neutralize your binding raga dveshas.
Yeah, binding raga dveshas, neutralizing that. And again, you do it as a karma yoga.
Prasada buddhi, for everything.
And do not expect anything. That also. That is the results. Expecting means results.
That again, see, you don't do anything without expecting a result. You expect something, that's why you do it. But again, attitude is it's the shift in your attitude. Is whatever result comes, you take it. Without expecting, how do you anyway start anything? You expect to cook a dish. You expect it to come out deliciously. But the result is something different. Right? So it is not expecting. It's not so right to say you should not expect. No. Whatever the result is, you take it in your stride. That is
Swamiji also has cautioned about this, right? In one of the
no, expectation is always we expect more than the reality. That is one way to think of.
And expectation becomes the cause of dvesha, isn't it?
Yes, that is what.
And also gratitude, which came about, like that changes your perspective. The inaction or the gratitude of something not happening, and that changes your perspective. And like the example came that he started the person he started believing in god, like some higher power, when something did not happen. So how to
That
put it in context?
relieves your mind.
Yeah, relieves your mind. If something which is not good
As you expected,
doesn't happen. Yeah.
Maybe it's when you do an action that could be, that result could be anything, right? Like you don't get perturbed because of that result. That's the attitude you're supposed to have with that. Not
that is the samatva.
Yeah, sameness in the mind, right? So it could be more than what you expect, or less than, or exactly, or it could be opposite to what is expected of the result. But it's some kind of result, you would get it. But the only time of time you see it is that um, you have to, I mean, you take it as, I mean, you learn from your mistakes. That's how we look at it, right? That, but then again, in here it says that you accept it more like it's sameness in the mind. It doesn't matter what type of result you're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's very, very difficult actually. You know, I think meditation and sadhana will help us.
True. That is why we are like this, right? because because of the we are not jhanis yet when we become that, but we are striving towards that. So when we are doing something, um, you want exactly what you want may not happen all the time. That we have to keep in mind like that.
Yeah,
So
and sometimes something happens, like you do not feel good inside for yourself, you know. So coming out of it again, I think an incident happened the day before. So
mm,
meditation and I think some exercise, of course, sadhana,
mm,
that helped me to come out like within an hour, you know, out of
mm.
it. It was really beautiful.
See, that is where no Swamiji's talked about you feel yourself a loser when
Yes, Didi.
what you desire does not happen, or what you want to avoid does happen, what you want to have does not happen.
Yeah,
Then
sometimes miscommunication also. In my case, it was miscommunication, you know. Yeah,
and then you
lack
start
of
blaming yourself. You go into self blame, which is
yeah,
what
lack of
Gurudev is.
communication. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
There is some, there were in the same token, there's explained like how animals and like Dr. Brahma also read about avocado and apple and the animals like monkeys are going to be monkey, they act like monkey and not like a tiger and things like that. But then when it comes to the human being, that we have that free will, um, so that gives us more choices you know to do or not to do things like that. And so something came to my mind, but it just got in the same what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I meant to tell you how you take it, like we worry about it versus not worry about it, right? So um I forgot what I was gonna say, sorry.
No problem. We've
Hmm.
gone way beyond our time today. 10 minutes. I apologize for that. We will close here. We'll take on the aspect, the attitude of a bhakta tomorrow.
Hmm.
Brahmraji, what about Nanaji? Is any sessions with Nanaji you're planning?
Yeah. Maybe we'll
Okay.
have, I'll ask him.
Okay.
Because having it at our time, regular time, 5 o'clock might be a little
Yeah,
challenge. I don't want to push him through for that. Maybe
correct.
at a later time, we'll see. Maybe um, 8 o'clock on a Sunday or so, Sunday or Saturday, maybe we can have. Huh?
Correct. Yeah, yeah, sure.
After we've completed chapter 2, or after we've done a little, I'll ask him, and then
Okay.
we'll have a.
That or even the Mahabharata reading or anything, whatever
Right,
it is. Yeah.
right, right. We'll see. I will, of
Yeah.
course, put this request to him.
Yeah.
Okay. Jai Gurudev.
Very good.
So today I'll play Maya Panchakam because it's already 6:10. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
निरुपमनित्यनिरंशकेऽप्यखण्डे मयि चिति सर्वविकल्पनादिशून्ये घटयति जगदीश जीवभेदम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया श्रुतिशतनिगमान्तशोधकानपि अहह धनादिनिदर्शनेन सद्यः कलुषयति चतुष्पदाद्यभिन्ना न घटितघटना पडीयसी माया सुखचिदखण्डविबोधमद्वितीयम् वियदनलादिविनिर्मित्ते नियोज्य भ्रमयति भवसागरे नितान्तम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया अपगतगुणवर्णजातिभेदे सुखचितिविप्रविडाद्यहङ्कृतिं च स्फुटयति सुतदारकेहमोहम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया विधिहरिहरविभेदमप्यखण्डे बत विरचय्य बुधानपि प्रकामम् भ्रमयति हरिहरविभेदभावा न घटितघटना पटीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया